Good evening. Good evening, fellow commissioners, staff, audiences, and viewers. Welcome to the April 1st, 2026 City of Cerritos Planning Commission meeting. Before we open, I would like to recognize the presence of our council member in the house, Council Member Sofia Tse. Good evening, Ms. Okay, I now call the April 1st, 2026 regular meeting of the City of Cerritos Planning Commission to order. And next on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to call on our fellow Commissioner Chow Han to lead us to the pledge. Please stand.
Okay, please stand, face the flag, put your hand over your heart and repeat. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chow Han. Next is roll call. Staff, could you please start the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Chair Reyes. I'll now take roll call by the commission. Commissioner Au,
Present.
Commissioner Surti,
Here.
Commissioner Chauhan,
Present.
Vice Chair Javeri,
Yes.
and Chair Reyes. All members in attendance.
Thank you, Amanda. Next is our public comments and suggestion. This section is reserved for public comments on consent calendar and items not listed on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Verbal comments may be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, subject to the chair extending to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, with a total time allotted not to exceed 45 minutes unless the chair extends. Do we have anybody to come before the days for public comments? Seeing none, move to close public comments. Next is the approval of the minutes. This is for Wednesday, March 4, 2026, Planning Commission regular meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I move to approve the minutes of last month's Planning Commission meeting.
Seconded.
The motion has been moved by Commissioner Au and seconded by Chow Han. Do I have any discussion, correction? Seeing none, let's have a vote. Those in favor? Please go on your screen.
Okay. At this time, all the votes have been taken and the motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Now we are on public hearings and start with 6A. 6A is the Precise Plan 2026-4. Review and consideration to waive full reading of and adopt a resolution of the Cerritos Planning Commission approving Precise Plan 2026-4, a proposal by the residential property owners to construct a first floor addition and a new second floor to an existing single-story residence with an attached two-car garage at 18814 Queens Court, Cerritos, California. Okay, may I have a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Chair Reyes and members of the Planning Commission. As mentioned tonight, agenda item number 6A is a request by the property owners for approval of a precise plan for an addition of a first floor addition and a brand new second floor to an existing single-family home residence. Tonight's presentation under agenda item number 6A will be given by Associate Planner Wyman Wong, after which staff is available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acuna. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission.
The property owners of 18814 Queens Court are requesting approval of Precise Plan 2026-4 to construct a 740 square foot first floor addition and 18,043 square foot new second floor to an existing single-story residence with an attached 474 square foot two-car garage. For the details of this project, I would like to direct your attention to the screen for a presentation. This is an aerial photo of the subject property, which is zoned single-family residential RS 5000 and is generally located north of South Street and west of Carmita Road. Further southeast of the subject property is Cerritos and Keystone Plaza Shopping Center. This is an enlarged aerial view that shows the details of the property. The property is bordered on all sides by single-family homes zoned RS 5000. The subject property is bordered on the west by Queens Court, across which are also single-family homes. This is a view of the front of the existing single-story home looking east from Queens Court. The subject property was developed in 1971 with a single-story residence and attached two-car garage. The residence is currently finished with beige-colored stucco and white trim. Also, the residence features wood siding enhancement on the west front elevation, and the existing roof is covered with a brownish-red color composition shingle roofing material. Access to the property is via the existing walkway and driveway off Queens Court. This is a view of the subject property looking west. Here you can see an unpermitted lattice patio in the rear yard, which will be demolished to accommodate the proposed project. This is a view of the rear yard of the subject property looking west from within the property. This is a proposed site plan showing the footprint of the proposed first and new second floor to the home. As mentioned, the applicant are proposing to construct a 740 square foot first floor and new 1,843 square foot second floor to the home with an attached 474 square foot two-car garage. As proposed, the project will meet all setback and lot coverage requirements. This is the proposed first floor plan. When completed, the first floor will include a kitchen, a pantry, a dining room, a living room, an office, one bedroom with one bathroom, a powder room, a laundry room, and entryway. This is the proposed second floor plan. The new second floor will include a family room, two bedrooms with one separate bathroom, a master bedroom with master bathroom, and a covered deck. This is the adjacent neighbor plan. As shown on the plan, there is a window that aligns with the adjacent neighbor's window to the south. As such, planning staff added project-specific condition of approval 43 to have the applicant relocate the proposed bedroom window from having direct alignment to the neighbor's window to mitigate the privacy concern. There are no direct alignments of windows with adjacent properties to the north, west, and east. It should be noted, however, that no privacy concerns are anticipated from the proposed covered deck due to the design and placement relative to the surrounding properties. This is a front elevation showing the accented entry porch, covered deck with arch openings, which will be finished with a rugged tan-colored smooth stucco and light brownish gray-colored stone veneer on the garage walls, portions of the entry porch on both the first and second floors that complement the architecture of the home. This is proposed rear elevation. The residence will feature the same rugged tan smooth stucco and a 4-inch wide molding trims around the windows. This is the north side elevation. As you can see, the home will feature building offsets, an architectural band delineating the first floor and the second floor of the residence, and the roof will be covered with a brownish slate colored concrete tile. This is the south side elevation, which features the same architectural enhancements found on the other elevations. The architect has prepared a color palette board for the Planning Commission's review, which is provided for you on the dais. All exterior colors and materials will be subject to the approval of the Department of Community Development, so to ensure that these elements complement the entire house and surrounding homes. This concludes the PowerPoint presentation. Staff recommends the Planning Commission approve Precise Plan 2026-4, subject to all conditions of approval contained in the report. This project is category exempt from secret review. Tonight in the audience is the developer. At this time, staff is available to answer any questions. that the Planning Commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Do I have any comment from the commissioners? Any questions? Seeing none, I would like to open this section for public hearing. Do we have any interested parties? Seeing none, I will now close public hearing. Okay, can we have a staff recommendation again, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Reyes. Tonight, under agenda item number 6A, staff, as mentioned, is recommending to consider waiving in full reading and adopting a resolution for Precise Plan 2026-4 proposal for a first floor and a new second floor for the property at 18814 Queens Court within the city.
Thank you, Ms. Acuna. Having heard the presentation and the recommendation, I would like to have a motion regarding this agenda item.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Javeri and seconded by Commissioner Al. So all those in favor, please just vote on your computer screen, please.
Okay, all votes have been received at this time, and the motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, commissioners, and congratulations to our applicants. And I have a comment from Commissioner Chauhan.
Actually, the palette is much better in person than it appears in the photograph. So the palette is very, very nice to see. Thank you.
Yes, I second that. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. Okay, now item 6B. This is Precise Plan 2026-5. Review and consideration to waive full reading of and adopt a resolution of the Cerritos Planning Commission recommending approval of Precise Plan 2026-5, a proposal by the residential property owner to construct a first floor addition and a new second floor to an existing single-story residence at 18732 Vikings Way, Cerritos, California. Subject property is zoned single-family residence. May I have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair Reyes and members of the commission. Agenda item number 6B is another proposal for a precise plan for request by residential property owners to construct a first floor addition as well as for a new second floor. And generally in proximity to the first agenda item, so you'll see similar site plan and aerial views for this site. But tonight, under agenda item number 6B, the presentation will be given by Associate Planner Matrey Anthony, after which staff is available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acuna. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. The property owners of 18732 Vikings Way are requesting approval of Precise Plans 2026-5 to construct a 17-square-foot first floor addition and a new 876-square-foot second floor addition to an existing single-story residence with an attached 476-square-foot garage, two-car garage. For details of the proposal, I would like to direct your attention to the screen for a presentation. This is an aerial photo of the subject property, which is zoned single-family residence, RS 5000, and it's generally located west of Carmenita Road and north of South Street. This is a large aerial view of the property that shows the details a little more closely. The property is bordered to the north, south, and east by single-family residence on property zone RS 5000. To the west is Vikings Way, a 56-foot wide residential street across from which are additional single-family residents on property zone RS 5000. This is a view of the front elevation of the existing single-family residence, looking east from Vikings Way. The subject property was developed in 1972 with a single-story residence and an attached two-car garage. This is a view of the existing resident looking south from Vikings Way. The residence is currently finished with a beige colored stucco and brown trim. The existing roof is covered with brown composition shingles. Access to the property is via a existing driveway off of Vikings Way. This is a view of the rear yard of the residence looking southeast from the neighbor to the north. This is the proposed site plan showing the footprint of the home. As previously mentioned, the applicants are proposing to construct a 17 square foot first floor addition and a new 876 square foot second floor to an existing single story residence with an attached 2-car garage. As proposed, the project will meet all setback and lot coverage requirements. This is the proposed first floor plan. When completed, the first floor of the home will include a living room, a kitchen, a bedroom with a bathroom, an additional bathroom, and a den. This is the proposed new second floor. It will include a new master bedroom with bathroom, 2 additional bedrooms, 1 additional bathroom, and a loft. This is the adjacent neighbor plan. As shown on the plan, the homes to the north and east of the subject property are single-story homes. The existing walls located along the property line screen the windows from the first floor. The home to the south is a 2-story residence. However, the second floor windows of the proposed addition do not align with the existing second floor windows of the adjacent neighbor. Therefore, any proposed privacy issues arising from window placement have been mitigated through the project's design. This is the proposed front elevation. The residence will be finished with a beige color stucco and a light beige trim. In addition, the front elevation will include decorative stone veneer, which will wrap around the sides of the elevation to areas that are visible from the public right-of-way. The front elevation also features a new entry porch that provides a defined sheltered entrance to the home. This is the rear elevation. The roof of the residence will be covered with a brown-colored composition shingle. This is the north side elevation. All windows and doors will be detailed with a minimum 4-inch wide stucco trim. And this is the south elevation, which features the same architectural enhancement found on the other elevation. An architectural band will be installed on this elevation to break up the massing of the home. The architect has prepared a color palette and material boards for the Planning Commission review, which is located right in front of me. All exterior colors and materials will be subject to the approval of the Department of Community Development to ensure that these elements complement the entirety of the surrounding neighborhood. This concludes the presentation. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Precise Plan 2026-5, subject to all the conditions of approval contained in this report. This project is categorically exempt from SEQR review, and to date, staff has not received any comments as a result of the public hearing notice. Tonight, the homeowners are in the audience for any questions. At this time, staff is also available for any questions that the Planning Commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. I'll now open this discussion for any comments or questions from the commissioners. Okay, seeing none, we will move to public hearing. Do I have any interested party to for or against this? Having none, I'll move the hearing to close. Could staff please restate our recommendation?
Yes, thank you, Chair Reyes. At this time, it is staff's recommendation to the Planning Commission to waive full reading and adopt a resolution. Approval for Precise Plan 2026-5, a request by property owners for a first floor and a new second floor to an addition to an existing single-story home at the property at 18732 Vikings Way.
Having heard the recommendations, I would like to accept a motion and a second for this agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve.
Seconded.
Having been Motion by Vice Chair Javeri and seconded by Commissioner Chauhan. We'll go. Please vote on your computer screen.
Okay, at this time, all votes have been received and the motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, and congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Lee. Now, Agenda 7A. This is informational report on tree care within the city of Cerritos. This is to review and consideration of an informal report related to tree care within the city of Cerritos. And I would like to call on our superintendent for.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jorge Martinez, Parks and Trees Superintendent. Joining me today is Alvin Papa, our Public Works Director of Public Works, and also Bino Holguin, our city's arborist. At the last Planning Commission meeting, there were questions about who is responsible for tree care in Cerritos. In some cases, the city maintains the tree. In other cases, the resident, property owners, or homeowners association is responsible for the tree care. Tonight, we'll walk through the different situations. We'll explain when permits are required, and at the end, city staff will be available to answer any questions that you might have. Cerritos has a large and valuable urban forest. The city maintains about 28,000 public trees throughout the community. Now, these trees improve the appearance of the city, they provide shade, improve air quality, and make neighborhoods safer and more attractive. Cerritos is proud to be recognized as Tree City USA Community since 1999. And the Parks and Trees Division is responsible for maintaining city-owned trees. Now, the tree care and responsibilities are outlined in Chapter 9.75 of the Cerritos Municipal Code and in the city's Tree Preservation Manual. However, the easiest way to understand tree responsibilities is to first ask one question. Where is the tree located? If the tree is located in the parkway in front of the single-family home, well, it is usually a city tree. If the tree is in a front yard, a backyard, HOA, common area, apartment complex, business, or industrial property, well, the owner or HOA is usually responsible. So the question that comes up is most frequently is, what is considered a parkway tree? Being that a parkway is a strip of land between the curb and the sidewalk, trees in this area in front of a single-family home are parkway city trees. Even though the tree belongs to the city, per the city's municipal code, the homeowner still needs to help by watering the tree and reporting problems. For trees in the parkway within a residential neighborhood, the homeowner is responsible for watering and basic care of the parkway tree. This includes watering, which encourages tree growth, providing healthy growing conditions, and notifying the city of suspected tree hazards. Now, there's a link on the city's website that provides more details on tree care. The link to the website, along with the 30-second video. Now, the link to the website in the slide, which can also be accessed going to the city website, mousing over home and property, and the link to this tree care web page is on the right side. Now, at this time, please give our attention to our screen as we play the brief video that our staff has created outlining the proper way to water a newly planted parkway tree.
And for now, if you don't mind while I switch the screen. and I'll be taking you to our city website. So when you go to cerritos.gov/tree care, that will take you to the tree care website where there's a map about our tree planting, a little more information about the city's responsibilities and the homeowner's tree care, and our urban forest. All this is going to be covered in the report today, but the video that Jorge is referencing is at front and center on this page. And as he mentioned, there are additional links on the side, should the commission be interested. So I'm going to open this up full screen. I'll play the video, and it's about a 30-second video. And now back to Jorge.
What an informative video, wouldn't you agree? Now, moving forward with our maintenance of parkway trees portion, for the trees within a residential parkway, the city is responsible for all tree trimming, including any tree removal and replacements. In line with best practices for tree health, the city trims the trees about every 4 years. It's a 4-year trim cycle. And if there is a concern, such as low branches, dead limbs, or possibly a hazard of some sort, the resident should contact the Department of Public Works. One important point to keep in mind is that residents cannot remove or heavily trim a city tree on their own. Now, if a resident wants work done sooner or for a special reason, well, the city offers a pay-to-trim program, which would be at the expense of the homeowner. The city also oversees any tree removals and replacements for trees in the parkway. These trees are only removed if a tree is dying, diseased, dead, or poses a risk to public health and safety. If a tree meets this criteria, a homeowner may submit an application requesting a tree removal to the Department of Public Works. Specific to pine trees, the city does offer a pine tree reforestation program for the removal of pine trees. Similarly to the pay-to-trim program, the city does offer a pay-to-remove program, where a homeowner at his or her sole cost may request to remove and replace an existing tree. For trees located on the property of a single-family home, such as in a backyard or a front yard, the homeowner is responsible for all tree care, including watering, trimming, and tree maintenance. Any removal of a tree within a residential front yard requires a no-fee city front yard landscape approval through the Department of Community Development. However, no replacement trees are required if a tree is removed within a homeowner's front yard or backyard. Now, I want to discuss trees located in private properties, such as on multifamily residential property within an HOA or on commercial industrial properties, as these trees are the full responsibility of the property owner or HOA. Trees in these areas are private trees, even if they're in a parkway. The HOA, property owner, or management company is responsible for watering, trimming, removal, and replacement. However, before trimming these trees, a city tree trimming permit is required. And before removing a tree, city approval is also required. In each of these cases, the property owner should contact the city for assistance. I did want to note one caveat for residential parkway trees within an HOA. For these trees, a homeowner may obtain approval to remove and replace a parkway tree at their own expense, if and only if the tree is dead, dying, diseased, or poses a public safety hazard. A private parkway tree removal application should be submitted in this case to the Department of Community Development. The city requires permits because improper trimming can seriously damage a tree. One common problem is called topping, where too much of the tree is cut back. Well, this could weaken the tree, make it unsafe, and shorten its life. The city may require a review by a certified arborist before work is done. If the work is done without a permit, the property owner may face fines, higher fees, or may have to replace the tree. A tree cannot be removed simply because it drops leaves, blocks a view, or requires maintenance. In most cases, a tree may only be removed if it is dead, dying, diseased, or creates a safety risk or hazard. Staff reviews each request separately. In HOA, commercial, industrial, and multifamily areas, a replacement tree is usually required. This slide, also provided as Exhibit 2, provides the basic rule of thumb. If it is a parkway tree in front of a single-family home, the city trims it and the homeowner waters it. If it is a private property, the owner is responsible. For HOA apartment, commercial, and industrial properties, the HOA or property owner is responsible. If residents are unsure, they should call the city before doing any work, and city staff is available to provide guidance. City staff is available to provide assistance to the public regarding trees. Public Works can help with questions about city trees, parkways, and trimming schedules. Community Development can help with approvals for tree removals on private property. Residents can call City Hall. They could visit City Hall or submit requests through the website. In closing, tree care in Cerritos is a shared responsibility. The city maintains many public trees, but residents, HOAs, and property owners also play a vital and important role. By following the city's rules and permit process, we can keep Cerritos healthy, safe, and attractive for future generations. Myself, Bino, and Alvin are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. That was a really informative and wonderful presentation. And thank you, Mr. Papa, and to our arborist. Is it Bino? Bino. Thank you for being here. And what a great team. Thanks so much. So we will now open this for a discussion and questions among our commissioners. So I'm taking a list here, so I know a lot of questions and comments. Who do we have?
Okay.
Sorte, Mr. Sorte.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. One is, how do, from the time the resident requests for a tree to be removed, how long does it take?
I could defer to Mr. Papa here.
Yes, so thank you for the question, Commissioner. So usually what will happen is when a resident makes a request, that request will go to Jorge, and Jorge will work with our tree inspector. So either it will be Bino or Bino's staff. We have a dedicated tree inspector that will go out and will take a look at the tree and make sure, we have to look at the keywords were dead, dying, diseased, or basically causing a potential hazard to human health. And that really is, a lot of times trees are pushing up sidewalk, pushing up curb, that could create a tripping hazard, or at times they're either pushing up the roadway or sometimes breaking a sewer line. So they'll take a look at that. Concurrently, Staff will also direct the homeowner to fill out a tree removal application to begin the process. I think usually we get out there within the week, sometimes 2 weeks, and then based on the review, we should be able to come back and provide the resident a timeline with regards to when the tree will be removed. And really, it depends on the workload of the staff. I think I'll have to lean on Bino as to what our current turnaround is. But sometimes it's in the next week, but there are other times where we wait for a batch of trees together and they do it on the next project or next tranche. So do you have anything to add, Bino, with regards to the timing?
If we're speaking about removal applications, we do have a backlog of removal applications that are about 4 to 5 years old. It's not a matter of speed. Basically, when you're asking a healthy tree to be removed, they will all be denied. If it is a healthy, stable tree, it's not a tree that is going to be removed by us. There is a process that you can go through. Once it is denied, there's an appeal process that can happen. That's where the homeowner would appeal it, and it would go to Property Preservation Commission, and Property Preservation Committee or commissioners would vote to either remove it or keep it. If you're asking it's a removal application, yes, if it's a healthy tree, they'll always be denied. It's not a plan to remove a healthy tree.
Yeah, but I think the question is if a tree is dead, diseased, or dying, or qualifies for removal, typically how long does that take us?
Oh, it depends on the situation. If it's a dying, dead, diseased tree, within a week usually. If it's an emergency, the day of.
Yeah, so if it's an emergency, so say in a storm, a lot of
Yes.
times staff will go there immediately, but we typically try to respond in a week, maybe 2. But there are times where there is a backlog, or if there's a number of trees, we'll batch them together and do it as part of one project.
They say that the backlog is if 4 to 5 years, if I heard that correctly, right?
That is speaking to removal applications. It's different than if you call in a work order and there's a dying, dead, diseased tree. If we call in a work order, it's not a backlog like that. It's only speaking to removal applications. We're pretty quick at removing trees that are at risk.
And then, okay, what if there's sidewalk repair? Who's responsible for that?
A couple of different departments. Mainly it's maintenance throughout the city, and then there are times when engineering repairs large areas.
And how long does it take for sidewalk repairs? The same time as tree removal?
Yes, I can chime in. So yeah, typically the time of tree removal, the sidewalk should be repaired. And typically it's best practice if we're able to handle the landscaping that's associated in the area, because sometimes it's damaged as part of the tree removal, that will be remediated as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Commissioner Al.
Yeah, just last week, the president of the Granada Park HOA board was Mr. Carl Besa, was complaining about how difficult it was to get the city's attention to his complaint about the pine tree in front of his house in the parkway. That was after some heavy rains. It was leaning toward the middle of the road and could fall. So that will, I suppose that's a public safety hazard, right? So my question is, for a situation like that, do we have higher priority for trees that pose a public safety hazard over, let's say, dead or dying trees? So those trees probably should be removed as fast as possible because we don't want an accident to happen, right? Thank you. So is there some way to expedite that kind of process?
Yes, thank you for the question, Commissioner Au, and the comment. So if there is a tree that is leaning that poses a hazard to public health, we definitely should be addressing it right away. So if there was a hazard and it was brought to Public Works for attention, uh, I think we definitely like to know when that was brought and who it was, because we typically would have handled that. That's not something we would have ignored. But we can definitely look into it. After this, we can reach out to you to get the information and follow up. Are you aware if it has been handled at this point, or?
I think he said it was finally handled after a couple of months.
Okay, so we'll look at that. That does seem that is not normal practice for us. If we are told that it's a hazard and it causes risk to public safety and human health, we would address it right away. This is one of those situations where the crew would be there that day, if not the first thing tomorrow morning. It's not acceptable to leave it there for longer than that.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, sir.
Alvin.
Thank you, Commissioner Hao. Commissioner Chauhan.
Okay, so I have a fundamental question. What is a tree? And I'm asking this because of the codes that we write. In one specific section, it talks about removing trees of 4-inch diameter.
The correct term is a long-lived perennial that grows to large size. A 4-inch diameter tree is a real small tree. 4-inch diameter it refers to about 54.5 inches off the ground at chest height. That's where they consider the diameter of a tree. So if it's a 4-inch diameter tree, it's probably something that's about 4 inches at chest height, possibly about 15 to 20 feet tall.
And therein lies, I think that's too small to be called a tree. As somebody who works with plant, why do I need to come to the city to trim a tree? I think a tree should be defined by size of 6, 8 inches or larger, or a height, some sort of a height parameter too. I find it vague when it just says 4-inch. And so when it's codified in writing, the spreadsheet is far more gray. So again, I like this. What I don't like is a code that defines a tree as being 4 inches in diameter.
No, it's a species. It's a plant that can grow large. A tree that's 4-inch diameter, at some point in time, it could be a 3-foot diameter tree, depending on the species. So trees in general are things that are long-lived. Lots of trees can live up to be about 150 years old, something like that. It wouldn't be considered a shrub, or it wouldn't be a plant. A tree is a long-lived perennial that can grow large.
And again, I'm talking about the tree that is on the owner's side, not in the parkway. Why do I need to get a permit to remove that tree if I choose to do so?
Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. I can provide some information and some context to the rest of the members in attendance tonight. The reference here regarding the 4-inch diameter tree comes from the city's standard conditions of approval for any residential project. So for instance, the projects that were brought before you tonight for room additions, as are residential projects, they are the standard conditions for those were used, and under, I believe it's conditional 29 for landscaping. So it's not necessarily codified. It's under condition of approval, which the Planning Commission does have the authority to impose more strict regulations or conditions through entitlements such as a precise plan. The first, I believe, 30 or 40 conditions, as mentioned, are considered general standard conditions of approval. They do not apply to all types of development projects, so they are only applicable for certain projects. The condition you're referencing for a tree removal of a 4-inch diameter would be consistent with a brand new like townhome development that we saw a project over on Cabrillo Lane. If there were mature tree or even the smaller trees, we want to ensure that the same number of trees are provided. In most cases, they are. They're developing the site, they're investing into the site. They do have a lot more landscape provided within, but at minimum, we want to ensure that whether there were those trees there, that they remain on site. So in conditions of approval, again, the city has more authority to impose some regulations than the city's municipal code would.
Still doesn't settle well with me, but the point is, to me, a 4-inch diameter is not a tree. And if the owner can keep it, why put it a condition? So it's overlaying of these rules. They need to be consistent across the board. So I'd like to see a diameter that's reasonable and a height that's reasonable. So that way you define it two different parameters, because some type of trees are narrow, can grow tall. I also understand the reason why we have these rules, which is for their own safety, or planting them in certain places where it would be an issue with the building. One of the things that I've not heard is, for example, where do the power lines lie? And if we plant the wrong stuff in the wrong place, it would be a hazard. But nobody ever tells us that. How do we communicate that to the residents? The appropriateness of the trees. And when they become a liability. I like Tree City, but I also don't like the cost associated with Tree City. So that's my reason for, so we need to keep some of these codes consistent. I still disagree. 4 inches, not a tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. I have a few questions myself. On selecting the trees, I saw a list of different type of trees that we have around the city. Who makes the decision of what type of trees to plant?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Commissioner. So with regards to who makes the decision, ultimately the city arborist gets to decide where the species and type of tree, and typically they look at what is existing, what works for the area, and what is best in with regards to the big picture of the urban forest.
Okay, thank you. Is there like a way where the citizens can have an input on type of trees, or is it just decision of the division or department?
Yes. So, although the ultimate decision lies with the city arborist and the director of public works, the citizen does have the opportunity to have dialogue and discuss, and sometimes there is opportunity to have a discussion, but ultimately the final decision lies with the city arborist.
Sure, thank you. And also on the presentation, there was a pine tree reforestation. Are we actively removing pine trees and replacing them with other trees, or what? I wasn't quite clear on what that meant.
Yes, currently we do have a pine tree reforestation. It was created, I believe, about 5 years ago. And in this project, there's about 6,000 canary pines. The trees are only going to be removed when the homeowner applies for reforestation. And it was at a first come, first serve. So the residents who applied, their trees are being removed in order. There's, it's sporadic throughout the city. We have 20 different districts, and residents from different districts would apply. So when we're doing that project, we're not just doing the whole sections, we're doing by order of the applicant. And yes, when we're removing the trees, we're no longer putting the Canary Island pines back. We're putting multiple different types of medium to smaller growing trees in the, to replace the canary pines. We have a book that was created, don't have it with me, but basically every street that we are working on will have a different type of tree.
So what was the issue with the canary pines? I mean, what
It was the residents that came to council to ask. Some of their concerns were the height, the pine cones falling, the needles, the pollen, damage to property. At the homeowner's request, council requested our superintendent at the time to create a reforestation, which he did, and currently we are working on it.
I think Mr. Chauhan, you want something? Vice Chair Chavarri.
So coming back to this tree pruning permit, is that really required, or do people really take it?
It's in our law, yes. It
I
started,
understand it's a law, but so a regular gardener maintaining it every monthly, 2 monthly, isn't that pruning?
they cannot. It has to be a certified or a licensed California contractor, also a D49 licensed contractor who trims trees. Not just a gardener can trim trees on private property. So HOAs, industry, commercial properties. In this process, they have to obtain a permit. In this process, there is a pre-inspection prior to the work performed, and after the work is completed, there's a post-inspection. That's to all commercial HOA industry.
So all HOAs who do the pruning, do they do the, after every pruning, there is an inspector going on?
Yes, that's me.
Yes,
For reals?
Yes.
Yes, and I can chime in, Commissioner, to add here. The reason the rules were put in place is so that the trees are maintained in a healthy manner. A lot of times when you have unlicensed companies trimming trees, if they're trimmed inappropriately, they may over trim. That causes damage to the tree. The tree doesn't have enough energy, and then tree slowly starts dying. And that becomes a problem because it does become a health and safety issue. But it's true, while we have rules in place, there are homeowners and associations that do the pruning without our knowledge. But if they are discovered, they will be subject to code enforcement, fines, and penalties. And so it's very important that we have qualified contractors that are performing the work, and that our city arborist actually gets to go and observe and take a look to make sure that we have a healthy urban forest.
So wait a second. So it applies to even homeowners? No, not homeowners. It's only HOAs and commercial, correct?
Thank you, Vice Chair Javari. So that the tree pruning permits will only apply to permits for
Commercial and
HOAs,
industrial.
commercial and industrial. Parkway trees are maintained by the city, so that's separate. So
okay.
they don't have to get the city staff.
Obviously.
Yes, we'll do the tree
Correct.
trimming. So it's only applicable to commercial properties, industrial properties, and like the whole entire HOA.
And those permits are, say, HOAs, for example. Are they annual permits?
Our permit will last, it'll expire in a year's time. There are some large HOAs will hire a contractor, and it's specific to contractor. If a contractor, say, works in an HOA that's a real large HOA, they'll obtain a permit. They'll do, some will trim by species. Say it's wintertime, they may want to trim by just pine trees. So they'll have this contractor, they'll trim all the pines, maybe within 3 weeks or so. After that portion is complete, we'll go out, do an inspection. I'll do a sign off for the first job. With this same permit, later on, summertime comes, and they want to do more work on, say, a deciduous tree that's already budding out. Now that contractor will meet with me again on a second inspection. It's a pre-inspection with the same permit, same contractor. They work on those deciduous, popping out new trees. Once that's complete, we'll do another post-inspection. That permit will last for 1 whole year with that specific contractor. If the HOA wants to hire a different contractor, they would have to obtain another permit.
Interesting.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner, yeah, you're next. Commissioner Chauhan.
So the fee structure is listed, for example, on page 38. So that's one fee for one tree or 1 to 5 trees and another fee for 6 to 10, etc.
That might be for removal. A permit fee is, I believe, like 324 for the permit that would last a year.
And what is the cost of removing a tree? If I, as a homeowner, come to you and say, I want this tree removed, obviously it would be, you wouldn't do it yourself. You'd probably get a contractor or somebody to do it for you.
That would depend on the different contractors.
Okay. So that would be a total cost of, would it be hundreds of dollars or would it be thousands of dollars?
It would depend on the contractor.
And I can also add that contractors, they typically charge by what's called DBH. So it's based on the diameter of the tree and the height of the tree.
Hence my issue with the diameter, but that's a separate thing. So I live on a street where we have the Brazilian pepper tree.
Yes.
Since those trees are brittle, shall we say, in some instances, lately the city has been putting a different variety of tree. So while one homeowner was happy with it, another one was not. So is there a formula or is there a layout that this species is going to be replaced by this somewhere?
For a lot of the Brazilian pepper streets, prior with our other superintendent, the one who retired, we began replacing back with pink trumpet trees. Other streets, we had already begun other ones with aristocrat pears. I can't think of all the other ones. We're not removing the Brazilian peppers just because it's when something happens to it, dying dead diseased, or if it's risk falling over, that's when we would remove them. And then when we replant back, we would replant back those different species.
Yep, and I can say that sometimes when you plant them and they're growing back in, they're growing at a diagonal where the street sweepers can't sweep.
Understood.
So that's another issue. Thank you.
All right, you want,
Sure.
go ahead, Mr. Martinez.
Yes, sir. So, the idea is to put the right tree in the right place, right? Canopies, there's funguses, there's different variables that affect that. And so that's what we're doing is we're being proactive and switching out some of these species to a more stronger species that does well for that area.
But since you mentioned that there's 2 or 3 options, does the homeowner get a choice? Or is that something you just say, nah, you get this?
Normally, the city will make the choice of what species that we plant.
Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. Commissioner Al.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So what happens to the trees that are being removed? We have some very, very large pine trees in town. With the reforestation program, do some of them become timber or do they all become mulch?
Mostly they'll become mulch. Normally, we take them to green waste and dispose of them that way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? One more question for myself. This is about the private trees that we have at the back. What's our code regarding the branches of your neighbor's tree coming to your side or my tree coming to their side? Does the city get involved or is that a private relationship, private matter between homeowners?
Thank you, Chair Reyes. I'll begin and staff feel free to join in. So that would be a private matter between the residents. This is a civil matter. So the city does not get involved when it deals with backyard trees over property lines.
Thank you so much. Okay. Well, very informative, great presentation. And again, thank you, staff, for that wonderful presentation. Okay. Now we move to item 8A, reports from designated commission, staff liaison. Do we have any staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair Reyes. At this time, I do not have anything to report to the commission tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acuna. And next is a report from our commissioners. Commissioner Al.
Okay, last month from 11th to 14th, some of my colleagues and myself attended a conference called the Planning Commissioners Academy. Was hosted by the League of California Cities in downtown Disney. A great variety of topics were covered at the conference, from basic topics such as Planning Commission 101, the nuts and bolts of planning, and California housing law basics, or introduction to CEQA, etc., to more advanced topics such as relationship between Planning Commission, City Council, planning staff, and Cal Cities, or California housing law updates, or advanced CEQA, etc., to futuristic topics such as the future of parking in an autonomous driving world, or AI in land use planning, practical tools to meet today's mandates with tomorrow's technology, etc. I acquired useful knowledge, met with new friends, and I had a good experience attending the conference. And thank you very much, Ms. Acuna, for organizing this. That's all.
Mr. Commissioner Chauhan, do you have any report?
First, thank you, staff, for the progress report of the items that are being, when we pass items on the Planning Commission, nice to know where the progress is occurring. So thank you for that report. And thank you, Amanda, for getting us to the training that Commissioner Au just spoke about. So all the sessions were great, but it's hard to provide a brief feedback on all of them. But what I did take away was that over 500 pieces of legislation have been passed in an attempt to make housing, and yet it has yielded little result. So despite these efforts, cities are not the problem. Yes, we've grumbled about the lack of local input. The real problem is funding. If builders can't make a profit, what incentive do they have to build? And the terms I have learned to embrace now is terms such as density bonus or ministerial, ADUs, and a few other terms that I'm learning to embrace. So it was a good learning experience, got a lot out of it, but it's a complicated issue about planning and how we move forward to bring housing into these very developed areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chauhan. Vice Chair Javeri.
One thing I learned at the academy was that there are some cities that once the Planning Commission has passed the resolution or made recommendations to the council on a given subject, those cities do not discuss that at the council meeting. How does our city council handle that? Just like to understand the process.
Hi, thank you, Vice Chair Javeri. For clarification, I'm assuming you're referring to the different entitlement process applications that come before Planning Commission, and then whether they are approved by the commission and or then brought before the council for their ultimate decision. I believe in the conference, we heard from other cities that there are different entitlements that are reviewed at the level of the Planning Commission and are approved by them. But you're correct, every city has a different process. Here in the city, there are some entitlements like the precise plans before you tonight, that the commission holds the authority on those approvals. But there are other entitlements, such as when there's legislative, as you may have learned from the conference, when there is legislative action, so there are changes to the city's policy documents, that authority is held to the city council. And so the commission holds as an advisory board on those land use and zoning regulations. And so those are ultimately, though, held to the different authority, so to the council. Other entitlements in other cities, yes, the commission holds authorities as well. Similarly, maybe a conditional use permit, but again, it varies from city to city, and that's what we learned and saw at the conference.
So let me understand this. So say something like we had two of these A and B. Would that be discussed by the council, or would that just slide through?
So every action that's taken by the commission, and I'm sure as every commission that the city has, there's a report given to the council of those decisions made by the planning commission tonight. If they would like to discuss those items, they could be brought up potentially, but at this level for agenda items number, the A and B under agenda 6 was only to the authority. If there was an appeal, it would go up to the city council, but they do not automatically go to them now.
So again, so would this be discussed, or would they not even?
It is not brought to them unless appealed.
So it's not brought to them. So only if
Correct.
it's like code amendment or something to that effect, something major, it would only and only then be discussed.
Sorry, it is dependent on how it is codified. So the city's municipal code regulates the procedures for all different entitlements. If within the city's procedures it states that it has to go before the city council, then it'll be brought before them.
Okay, say hypothetically there was a thing, say one of those cases, for in this 6A or whatever. Out of 5, 3 said yes, 2 said no. Would that be discussed?
Commissioner, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut this line of discussion off under the Brown Act. This isn't agendized, and so I don't think we can get into hypothetical discussions.
Okay, let's not talk about this. Anything else?
Just to be safe, yes.
Yes or no?
I would advise not to discuss anything further. This portion.
Procedure.
Of course, yeah. No, understood. Just under the Brown Act, if it's not agendized, we can't get into an extensive discussion about it.
Yeah, can we agendize it to the next meeting then?
We can, yes.
Okay,
yes,
let's
yes,
do that.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is please
Let's do
staff
that.
note to agendize the issue that Vice Chair and the next chair on your next meeting, you will be running agenda. So that's what.
So if we could do that, that'll be great. Just trying to understand the procedure. That's all it is. Because especially coming from there are many cities who do that. So
Is there consensus to agendize the item?
Yes, I would like to have a motion to agendize.
Yep. Understanding process, that's what we're
Yes.
seeking.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think by consent we do
Okay.
have it.
Okay.
Consent.
Perfect.
Any more? Commissioner Surdy.
I also attended the planning academy, commissioner's academy, and the one thing that I got out of it was the fact that most of the additions to the residential increase in housing in California were ADUs. Okay, so what is the city of Cerritos' policy about ADUs? We can't talk about that, yes?
I would caution just not to talk about it if possible.
Okay, got it,
Avoid
okay.
any discussion. We can agendize if we
Okay,
would like.
good. Okay, and then my last comment is on April 8th, we're having a mayoral transition from Frank Yokoyama to to Linda Johnson. So that's going to be at 7 p.m. at the Cerritos Performing Arts, if I'm correct.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll second an announcement on that.
Okay, good.
So, any more reports from the commissioners? Okay. Last Monday, and some of you were there. The city had the Heritage Park Play Island renovation project kickoff. That was to renovate the Play Island, which I think is that will add more, more space, not more space, but it will just modernize the island for people's use. And also on March 24th, some of you were also there at the Learn, Educate, Act, and Discover, the lead program that the City of Cerritos offered to the residents and the commissioners on how to understand how the city works. So that was that was on the 30th, and the next that was the third session. And on April 16th, that will be the fourth session of the lead training, which is from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the library this time. Okay. Now I would like to make an announcement. Like what our Commissioner Surdy stated, there will be a mayoral transition on Wednesday, April 8th, 7 p.m. at the Performing Arts. And on Saturday, April 25th, at the Cerritos Civic Center, there will be a 10:30 a.m. dedication of Milking Time, a tribute to Dairy Valley. This will be a statue, right? It's an artwork that depicts a cow and a little boy milking the cow. So everybody's invited. It's a Milking Time story for youngster. Will also be held in the Cerritos Library Skyline Room, and no registration is required. On the same day, Saturday, April 25th, it's the Spring Fling and Fireworks Spectacular celebrating the city's 70th anniversary. This will be at the Cerritos Sports Complex from 4 to 8:30 p.m. There will be crafts, games, entertainment, fireworks, food truck. And there will be a dance recital at 4 p.m., local talent showcase, line dancing, and a band. So those are the events that we are looking to see you. And that concludes the meeting for April 1st. So I now declare the regular meeting of the Planning Committee to be duly closed. Thank you, everyone.